It's your boy K Brown, the CEO, host of KNT Radio, and you are locked in. Got special guests coming in, of course, you already know. And make sure I hit that like button, hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Yo, my man Dre, what up, Retro Lumberjack in the building. We already know. Let me add my special guest. And my special guest. Invite some people. You are now tuned in with KNT Radio. You already know what it is. Let me add my special co-host too. You already know I got two special guests for y'all. Cause you know there's some surprise things going on behind closed doors that y'all don't know about yet. Add my boy in here. What's up, Dr. Raw? Let me add you in here to the live. Yo. Welcome to KNT Radio. I got a special guest, a doctor. Not too many black doctors, and it's an honor to be on here with you. And can you introduce yourself?
Go ahead.
I want you to introduce yourself. Tell them what you do.
All right, my name is Dr. Ross. I'm an athletic trainer in sports medicine. I have a doctorate in health sciences. And I provide services. So I have my own company. It's called Rock Sports Medicine. I provide athletic training services to multiple sporting events, whether it's camps, high schools, and professional sports leagues such as the JBA.
Okay, so what made you want to be a doctor? Because that's not a common thing that our people want to be. You know that.
I feel you. Well, so my mother is a nurse practitioner, so healthcare has always been kind of in my family. Grew up in Compton, California, and Linwood, California. So you're absolutely right. There's not too many doctors in the area, but I was blessed to have my mother in healthcare, and it actually just kind of started from there. I used to get in trouble a lot, and so I would have to go to work with my mom. I would get suspended and have to go to work with my mom in the clinic in Watts. And so, just being in the clinic around other doctors, and I can tell you there was a lot of black doctors at the clinic where she worked at United Healthcare. Being around doctors and doing that stuff always piqued my interest. So once I started to calm down and stay out of trouble, then it was basically a match made in heaven.
It's a mindset thing. You already know.
Absolutely.
So, where are you from originally?
Compton, California.
What's that like growing up in Compton?
Man, it's different. At a young age, you learn to navigate the streets and kind of get your street smart. So, I know I can't walk down this street when I'm going to school. Started in the second grade, right? Like, okay, I can't walk down that street. Got to walk down this street, right? When you're walking home. So you just learn to navigate your area. And honestly, it's all you know. So you don't know any different, growing up there. So it's not foreign, or it doesn't seem dangerous, right? Coming up in it, it's not a little bit older, and you realize, like, man, right? I barely escaped with my life a couple of times, even at a young age. That you understand how that the environment that you grew up in is not something that everybody experiences, and not something that's normal. But at that point in time, it was just normal. You know, you learn to survive,
Mm.
you learn to navigate the streets. So, I mean,
Okay,
I would say it's no different than growing up anywhere else. You adapt to your environment.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you growing up in Compton, and then what high school you go to?
I went to Linwood High School.
Okay, so
Linwood
what?
next to Compton.
So that would you study? So was you studying medicine in high school too, as well?
No, in high school I was getting in trouble.
Oh, okay, so you started, but so it was this something that came onto you in your college, or was it something that later in like your senior, like in between your senior and you trying to choose what college you were going to?
So honestly, when I graduated high school, I did not want to go to college. I'm like, man, I'm done with school. And mom was like, you got to either work or go to college. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll get a job. I actually took 3 years out of college and just worked. I did like mortgages. I was a loan officer. I sold cars. And then after just kind of navigating life as an adult for a while, I realized that there was a little bit more out there
Absolutely.
for me, right? And I just had what I call like a yearning for learning. Even being in the mortgage business, like I felt like I knew everything I needed to know very quickly, and there was no room for growth for me there, as far as mentally, right? And I wasn't being challenged,
Gotcha.
and so I think if I grew up now, they would say that I had ADHD. So, so being an individual, right, with ADHD, I can't keep my attention. I have to constantly be challenged mentally. So
Exactly.
there, I went to Cerritos College, which is a local community college in California. And I got a flyer in the mail about their sports medicine program. So growing up,
Mm.
and again, just that natural love for medicine because of what my mother did. It was kind of like, oh, okay, that sounds like something very interesting.
Facts.
I started taking the class. Then the rest was.
So you fell in love with so what? So they said that sound like me because I'm a hustle-matic. Like I can't stop. I gotta be doing something. I can always be doing more. You
Facts.
know what I mean? ADHD is just for people who can't handle people that got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyway, I want to move on. So, did you go to just the community college, or you went to another college after that, right?
So I went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I got my.
Okay. What was that like?
It was great, man. I was 23 when I transferred to UNLV, so I was already, of age to take part in everything in Vegas. But I was also a man on the mission, so I never really let anything kind of derail me from that. Um,
Or,
Stay focused, which was super hard. Being from California, got friends coming up every weekend, like, hey, we in Vegas, we in Vegas. But I was on there like, hey, I got to work tomorrow, or I got a test to study for, or I got a paper to.
or,
So I had my priorities straight. I was a little bit more mature, but I definitely enjoyed myself. I had the whole college experience, and yeah, finished the program, got my bachelor's in athletic training. Then I went on and
mm,
got my master's in theology, and then after that is when I went on and got my doctorate in health sciences from Still University.
mm. So you say you have how many degrees do you have in all?
3.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing to have 1 degree, and this man has 3, and it's an honor for you to even. How many years of school was that?
10.
You did 10?
10 years of college.
Wow,
Yep.
wow, that was a grind.
It was, but it wasn't. I consider myself a professional student, so it became very easy after like year 6. It just became
Okay,
clockwork. So yeah, I became a professional student, so it just became easier and easier, honestly. After you understood, I won't really say the game, but after you understand how higher education is structured, and what's expected, right? Then you just meet the expectation. The same thing with a business person. You understand what the expectations of your consumer is, and you provide them with that. And you have a good product, right?
absolutely, and that's what every business. You understand your consumer, and then you understand the market. You know what I mean, and you can control the market and the consumer. You know what I mean. So you graduated college. What was your first job coming out of college? You got to have an athletic trainer job, and now
I'm
you chose.
working at a high school in Las Vegas, in North Las Vegas, as a head athletic trainer. I did that, and I was a biomechanical specialist at one of the casinos inside of their spa at the Venetian. They have
Hold on. What a biomechanical specialist? What is that for the people?
they have a foot clinic inside of the spa in the Venetian, and so basically, whether it's the guest or local, like marathon runners, triathletes, they would come in, and I would do a gait analysis. So I watch them run on the treadmill that we had outfitted with cameras, and then from there, I would basically be able to show them, what their body's doing, um, as far as their feet and how, that affected their knee, their hip, their back, their foot, and just looking at the way that their body to be able to correct,
I don't know. We lost him.
be able
It's all right.
to
He driving.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. We lost you for a second. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying that,
Go ahead.
basically I looked at the way that they ran, the way they walked, and was able to provide them with some resources as far as exercises and stuff like that, and get them fitted for custom shoe insoles.
I never even would have guessed that. You can't guess that.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so you did that. That is amazing. That's like genius level stuff right there. That is amazing. Like to know every point of the body, where your body's going to do based off of the movement and your trajectory and the boom, how much is. There's a lot of tech involved in that.
Yeah, it's basically just paying attention in school, man.
What?
But the thing is approaching it to where you're actually learning and you're not just getting a grade, right?
Right.
And so, I'm very intentional about anything that I do. I actually make sure that I know the information, so that I can be able to provide the best services for my patient population. It does no good to be in school and just to get a grade. A grade don't do nothing for nobody. It's the information, the knowledge that you obtain, and to be able to pass on, and as a healthcare professional to be able to use in your practice that really matters.
Okay, so you did 10 years of college, right?
Yep.
What would you say your go-to or your cheat to get through doctor school or any type of college? What would you say you need to do these things, or you need to have this mindset? What would you say?
As far as mindset,
and the things that you need to have and the things that you need to do to graduate college or doctor school, whatever you want to do when it comes to education.
Man, just being resilient, like understanding that it's not easy, but that it's possible, right? And have your goals always set in front of you. Like I would write my goals on my mirror, write my goals on my phone, like everywhere, right? So that you understand, like, what's your purpose of doing what you're doing. Once you have your purpose, then once you have your why, then the what you're doing becomes very easy. So because I knew why I was doing what I was doing, anything that I was asked to do became very easy because there was a goal, right? A goal in mind, for what I was trying to accomplish. So write down your goals, find your purpose for what you're doing, and that'll make everything super easy. As far as the technical part of school, make sure that you look at your syllabus and understand what's expected of you. Your teacher for you in plain black and white on that paper. And so you should know what's expected of you. And then anything that you put your name on, understand that's all you have to go off of. Right? So anything is going to be good because that's my reputation. That's all I have to go off of. It don't matter what nobody say about me or anything like that. Anything with my name on it, I know it's going to be quality because that's all I have is my name.
Right. And I wanted you to speak on one thing too, what you said earlier about how you was more mature and you chose, and because you went to college in Vegas where everything happens, you know what I mean? So, but can you speak on that part about how you remain focused instead of dealing with what most people are doing?
again, just knowing what I'm there for, right? I went to school. I went to Vegas specifically for their sports medicine program, so it made it
Mm.
for me to stay focused because I knew why I was there. I had a purpose. I think a lot of times individuals may go to college, and I understand college is not for everyone, but they just go because somebody else is telling them to go, or because that's what they think they're supposed to do, and they don't really have a purpose
Yeah.
for being there. Right? That's why it's easy to fall off. At UNLV in Vegas, they have a 50% dropout rate from their freshmen to sophomores. So 50% of their students who enroll as freshmen, that because of the city. I think I lost you. Okay,
Yeah.
did you get that?
It's all right. Yeah, yeah, I got you said 50% dropout rate.
Yeah, 50%
That's
dropout rate.
different. Too much partying.
Yeah, too much partying. So, um,
And I want to ask you a question.
yeah,
How
go
did
ahead.
you get involved with the JBA and the Big Baller brand?
So, crazy thing is, again, it has to do with the people you surround yourself with, and then making sure you do quality work. So there was a
Right,
couple athletic trainers who I worked with when I first moved back to California. Just doing some events with another company, and so one of the dudes I got on doing it, but he couldn't do it. So then he hit me
right.
up. Hey, I know you're a quality dude, and I need your help. And literally, it was like a week before it started. Like, can you come on? So actually, I did it as a favor for somebody. Realistically, I had other
Word.
stuff, and so it wasn't even something that that I was like chasing after or anything like that. It was landed in the lab based on, right, the good work that I do, and
Word.
uh, making good relationships.
So what was that experience like? So what was your job for on the JBA?
So the way the JBA was set up, it was like different groups of the team. So it's 8 teams and it's split up 4 and 4. So 4 teams will travel to one city, 4 teams will travel to another city, and then the games will happen. Like one group will play on Thursday, the other on Sunday, and then like change and fly to another city, right? And so I was traveling with a group of four teams. And so basically, traveling around the country, providing rehabilitation services, emergency care for the athletes of the JBA.
That sounds like a doctor's dream job right there.
You would think. I mean,
It was hard. It wasn't.
it had its rough moments and its ups and downs, as any new league would have, right? Um,
Right.
if I was the head person in charge of that thing, a lot of stuff would have been done differently to make it a little bit
Okay.
smoother, especially for the medical staff. But at the end of the day, no matter what situation I'm in, I'll always take whether it's good or bad. So it definitely had its bumps along the way, but good experience. I made some good connect relationships from it.
So what all cities did you get to go to?
Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Trenton, New Jersey, Chicago.
Mm. So that was like back there. Were they like? How were they doing it? Like every 2 days, every 3 days?
It just depended on what we had going on. So we were in Houston for 2 days. Then we were in Dallas for like 4. We're in Atlanta for about 4 or 5 days. Then New Jersey for 1, and then we were in Chicago for a week. So it just depended on what we had going on.
Did you get to work on any of the brothers? Did you have to help them in any of their fitness?
Absolutely, those are my guys. Again,
What's that like? What are they like in person?
no, they're straight. They're normal people, man. I've worked. See, even outside of JB, I've worked with the Atlanta Hawks. I worked with the Chicago Bulls. Um,
Mm.
right, but at the end of the day, every athlete is just like me and you. Obviously, they're grown kids. You know what I mean? James is a big old kid. So, yeah, man, I approach my job where no matter who I'm working with, whether it's the head coach, the main organization, CEO, or star athlete, at the end of the day, they put one leg at like I. So I approach
That's a fact. I agree. That's 100.
Yeah, treat
That's 1,000.
respect. And then I just get into my bag and you know, do my craft and let my work talk for itself. So
Exactly.
you know, I had a good relationship with both the brothers. Didn't really talk to the dad that much, but you know, had a couple good conversations with him. To the point where you know I frequent to provide
Word.
like that. So yeah,
That's love right there. And you said you work with the Hawks and who else you said?
Atlanta Hawks. I interned with the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls.
Mm. How long you been doing that?
I only did that for actually just for the summer. So 2 summers, one was 2010 and the other one's in 2012. So I was with the Hawks in 2010. Then the next year, the lockout year, 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you? What is your main thing that you're doing now? Right now?
So now I'm actually a teach. I teach in a high school setting. And then
Wow.
directors.
Shout out to you.
Go ahead.
I love per people that like educate and uplift the next generation. That's big with me.
That's my passion is mentorship and giving back, man. Because I truly believe that you know everybody has the ability to do something great. They just need somebody to tell them that they can. So work in the area where I work with high school students is necessary. We need more black and minority teachers too.
Word.
Having them sitting in front of a group of high school students and they seeing where I've been, what I've been able to do, and who I am, and knowing that I came from a situation just like them, like that's bigger than me being working for any professional. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
That's 100.
yeah, I do that. I'm the director of sports medicine district, and they come like the athletic training for their students. Have about 7 college interns and probably about 15 high school aides that work with me. I'm also
You went in and out right there.
I said I have about 15 college or sorry 7 college interns and about 15 student aides that work with me, high school student aides. So basically, you know, letting these students that are from a socially economic disadvantaged community know that they can be a doctor if they want to too.
Exactly.
I'm also a per diem athletic trainer for USC University, so I provide services when needed and when I'm able to for their football team and you know, stuff like that.
So you do it. So you work with a lot of with the development of players, like on their fitness, like helping them with the nutrition as well, right?
I mean, I can do nutritional stuff, but I really don't do a lot of nutritional stuff. My main is more injury prevention and then rehab and stuff like that. Once they're
What's injury prevention? Like, what does that goes into that?
So let's say you're a hooper and I want to play basketball, and I noticed that you have a deficiency in like the way that you run, and it's basically a muscular imbalance in your hip, right? We'll get in a lab, work on your hip strengthening and stability of your hip to prevent you from having back problems, blowing out your knees, stuff like that. So realistically, when we see a lot of these, especially professional athletes, a lot of times it has to do with muscular deficiencies that they have or instabilities of muscle that you know cause them to be able to or cause them to have certain injuries. So I put together programs to help female athletes prevent from tearing their ACLs, non-contact ACL tears, which is a high prevalence for female or women soccer and basketball players and stuff like that.
And what does the ACL stand for?
Oh, anterior cruciate ligament. It's the major or stabilizing ligament in the knee.
Yo, I love having black educated men on the channel. I love it. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. Now, because we're depicted as something as more of a physical prowess than a mental
Absolutely.
or a talent or a talented prowess. Like we have to be some type of singer or rapper. You know what I mean? We have a live doctor on the channel. You know what I'm saying? There's not too many people that know what ACL is.
Yeah.
People know what it is, but they can't say the actual word for it.
Yeah.
You know? So what's the most common injury you deal with, like the basketball players? What's the one that's getting everybody?
Man, really ankle injuries probably ankle injuries is the most common injury to most athletes, and a lot of it is preventable. Usually has something to do with their imbalance of hip strength, flexibility.
That's different.
You wouldn't think that your butt muscle are you spraining your ankle.
So hold on. Okay, so I'm learning this stuff because I'm still keep trying to get my health back, but I'll be quitting on it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not. I got to get stronger mentally for this. But you said your butt can deal with your ankle.
Yeah.
Can you explain that for me?
Because what happens is if your butt muscle is not strong enough to, all right, so your butt muscle is connected to your back, right, and your leg.
Okay.
And so
okay.
What it does is, if it's not strong enough, and you jumping 100 times, or you running up and down the court, 45 minutes, it starts to fatigue. What ends up happening is you no longer have stability of your hip. Your hip drops, which then changes the angle of the way your knee is working and your ankle. And so, long story short,
That's when
by having a weak butt muscle, it can make you end up spraining your ankle without landing on anybody's foot, anything like that, and muscles are fatigued. So, strengthening those muscles, making sure they have the endurance to be able to withstand the demands of an 82-game season and things like that. And that's injury prevention, right? And so putting together stuff like that can mean the world for a player, especially when you're talking about there's a dollar sign associated with that athlete, right?
exactly.
And so I never did any work with Lonzo Ball or anything like that, but realistically, that's probably what he was dealing with. Just from outside looking in, with his early ankle injuries, was just muscular coming from the shoulder, ankle.
That's different.
And
okay,
that's
so
what happened when you just working out.
They said that's what happens when you just run?
When you just run hills for working out.
Yeah. No, you ain't lying. Because you gotta do other things too, right?
Facts.
So what's the worst thing you dealt with so far? What's the worst thing you think that you dealt with?
Man, always for me is any sort of, potential catastrophic injury. So, which particularly what happens in football, so any type of neck injury or something like that where they can potentially keep an athlete paralyzed. I've had a couple instances where I've had to, stabilize spine board athlete, and luckily send them off to the ER, and they end up just having like a neck sprain. But that's always kind of the worst nightmare of any healthcare professional, especially dealing with emergency injuries. Anything where you have to do CPR or where somebody can potentially lose their life. So luckily, I
it's okay.
Losing their life, but I've had a lot of colleagues who have had to do CPR on their athletes and parents.
Y'all the unsung heroes of entertainment, though.
Facts.
Because if the players aren't healthy, we don't get to watch nothing.
Facts. But what the messed up thing is we're the unsung heroes, but we're also the ones that get the blame. So if you pay attention to basketball, the Lakers fired 2 athletic trainers over the last 3 years because of injuries that they had, as if it's the athletic trainer's fault.
That's just God. That's just how.
So it's kind of the nature of the beast. You get praised when you're able to keep everybody healthy, or you get somebody back quickly, but then you get blamed. If there's an injury plague season.
Okay, I'm always want to ask the doctor this question. You ever have a situation where you got to tell a player he's not going to play and he's feeling some type of way?
Every day.
For real?
Every day. But So the biggest thing is being able to build a relationship. So before you have to have that conversation with an athlete or even a coach, you should already have a relationship, right? And so
Right.
I built a relationship with all athletes, all of my coaches, where they have 100% faith that any decision that I make is the right decision. Because at the end of the day, I want
Right.
to too. Right? I've worked for multiple teams that's won state championships, um, close to winning national championships, and it's when they allow me to do my job and understand that I have the best interest for the team and the student athletes' safety and health paramount, that they're able to actually win those championships. So it's when coaches and players try to circumvent that and not listen to what you got to say, is ultimately when they end up not winning.
Mm. So what you're saying is the more preventative teams last longer.
Absolutely. I've had one basketball team that I worked with in Las Vegas. We ended up winning the regional championship and the state championship. And towards the end of the season, I let the coach know that our best player, needed to sit out. The best player needs to sit out probably a couple weeks so we can work on the issues that he was having, so that he can be 100% when we get back to the playoffs.
Right.
Like, no, he called me Doogie Howser because I had a baby face back then. No problem. Whatever you say, I trust you. No problem. And we got him out. We got back to 100%. And when I say we, right, sat him out, got back to 100%. Went on to win a championship. This kid went on to have a great college career and is playing, professional basketball overseas now. So, again, but that's 100% with being able to build relationships with your coaches, being able to build relationships with your athletes where they trust you. And honestly, being a Black healthcare professional, it's a lot easier, right, for me to gain their trust and do that with my student athletes that look like.
Why do you think?
They get to trust somebody that look like this, especially when you come in with education backing. That.
Yeah, that's definitely points. When you say you're a doctor and have the degrees to back up what you're saying, and you're of our complexion, that definitely gets people to listen. And it's like low key a shocker because they didn't. That would be the last thing they expect you to say you are.
Yeah.
And, okay, so in the industry, is it hard? So you said it's easier or it's harder for us in the industry as doctors in the medicine game?
Well, I'll just say it's harder based on the fact that there's not a lot of us,
Mm-hmm.
especially within sports medicine. There is a lack of Black athletic trainers. And so I actually have been starting a nonprofit with two of my colleagues called At Last, which, if you go to my page, you can find our podcast. We've got a podcast on any podcast network, the At Last podcast, where we're tackling that issue and looking to increase diversity within sports medicine. Because when we're talking about professional athletes or college athletes, right, it's very heavy, African American athletes, but then the individuals who are treating those athletes and providing with their health care, there's a huge lack in individuals that look like them. And I know a lot of people may take that the wrong way, but at the end of the day, we understand the social determinants of health and how a lot of people will break down or not even, talk about their injuries because they don't feel comfortable with the healthcare professional. So it's important for our patients, which my patients are, student athletes or athletes, for them to have the option to have somebody that looks like them to be able to come to for their health care.
Absolutely, because that's a rarity. It's like that you do get to have a doctor come in and they look like us. The nurse might be us, the CNA might be us, but the doctor is rare. You know what I mean? But I always ask people this on the channel, because I like the entertainment business podcast. You feel me? What's the market like, for being into sport fitness? If you to get a degree, what's the market like?
Market is great, man. So within athletic training, there is a constant growing demand for athletic trainers, and not only, and this is something I haven't talked about, but not only in sports, but in entertainment as well. So I've worked with dancers and performers and stunt performers at one of the biggest amusement parks in the world. I did that for 5 years. So they have athletic trainers on the setup, depending on what the movie is, right? So your ability to impact any physically active individual is basically the sky's the limit. As long as you conceive it in your mind, you can put it together, pack it, and sell your services to anyone.
So you said it can happen for anybody. And if you're good at athletic training, there's somebody that's going to work out. There's some movie that might need you. There's some basketball team that needs. There's an up and coming player. There's always going to be somebody for fitness. So you said it's a booming market.
Yes. Yeah.
So you hear that. So if you want to come if you need something to do, if you're going into college, we need more athletic trainers. But I always say this too. In order you be successful, you gotta learn to mop the floor before you can lead. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
but
if I had to, I'd go work at McDonald's right now.
Yeah, real rap. I don't blame you. If you had to, you listen. It's better than zero. It's definitely better than zero.
Right.
Like and all the jobs that involve us mopping the floor, we don't never want to do those jobs.
Yep. No.
Or helping other people. We want to be the person that's on the floor. We don't want to be the one that's working on the sound. We don't want to be the dude fixing the microphone, doing the tech. We need more of those people.
Yep.
Because they're making a lot of money too.
100.
Because how is Beyonce going to perform without a sound tech? You know what I mean? How is LeBron going to go 80? That's another thing too. LeBron spends over $1 million on his body every year for that reason, so he can make it 82 games.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for guys like Dr. Ross, he would never make it 82 games. Am I correct?
Correct. And so the interesting thing about LeBron is when he came into the league, his assistant athletic trainer had just came into the league too. He was an intern. And they developed a good relationship. He graduated from high school. That dude is still LeBron's personal athletic trainer.
So he just grew up, but he just built his, like you said, built his relationship. And when it works, you don't fix nobody else.
Yep.
So that's another thing too, like he's saying right here, that you can build a connection, and that makes perfect sense. If a player stayed healthy for the first time under you, you know what I mean? He been hurt his whole career, and as soon as he went to you as an athletic trainer, he ain't been hurt since. He's not going to use nobody else.
I'll tell you right now, anytime Jordan Hollywood Ray is in California, first person he called.
Shout out to Hollywood Ray, Atlanta baller. Shout out to my boy Hollywood Ray. Get buckets. And then